Most days around here start simply. A pot boiling on the stove, a little warmth filling the kitchen, everyday things, small rituals to start a day. And of course, Amber and Casper has to be right there, not helping, just supervising or keeping company, whichever way you want to look at it. The days are getting brighter, a little longer. Daffodils, cherry blossoms, and magnolias starting to bloom, and somehow all of it brings joy to our days. So here it is, over 15 years in the making, and it's finally finished. My Home Sweet Home quilt series, the finale. Hi everyone, welcome back to the Planet Pearl YouTube channel. This is a space where I share what I'm making, projects in progress, yarns I love, things I'm learning alongside little stories of my life. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Pearlin. I'm a multi-crafter living in Christchurch, New Zealand with my family and my two adorable dogs, Amber and Casper. This year, I'm on a mission to finish some of my long-forgotten works in progress. Today is a very special day because this is the finale of my Home Sweet Home quilt series. This quilt has been over 15 years in the making. It has traveled with me across big moves, different seasons of my life, including the one where I honestly thought I had lost it forever. If you've been following this journey, thank you for being here. If you are just arriving to my channel, I have other videos in this series walking my way through this quilt, and I'm so happy that it's finally finished after waiting for so long. There are just no words to explain that special feeling. This quilt is like a time capsule for me. It started out as a stitchery from a website that I have now long forgotten. It was a stitch along, and each week we stitched a block, I think. And each block is embroidered with letters and little motifs, birds, heart, tree, sheep, flowers, etc. to form the phrase "Home Sweet Home." When I first stitched it, I was a different version of myself. It was a completely different time in my life. I think my decor style was more colorful boho back then, and batik was the rage with my quilt guild ladies, and so I decided to join all the blocks with batik fabric and make a quilt top. After that, although the plan was to machine quilt it and do a self-binding finish, I never got around to doing it. I have since forgotten how to do a self-binding binding as well. So now, over the years, I have embraced a more cottage style. Of course, there is color around my home, but I think it has mellowed down. I also now think when I pulled this quilt out to finish it, I kept wondering if this quilt from my past would fit into my current home. Strangely, it does seem to fit into my home, although I have not found a place for it yet. Back then, I was learning new things. I did want things to be neat and tidy and perfect, and if it was not perfect, I would undo it and redo it again and again until I was satisfied. Now, although I still try to keep it neat and all that, I don't get upset if it's not perfect. I don't go over it again and again to my satisfaction. I think I'm more relaxed now. I'm okay with a little bit of wonkiness here and there. And picking it up after all these years, I wasn't really sure what I wanted it. Like I said before, I had finished the quilt, and I had finished the quilt top, and I had actually planned to machine quilt it. But when I came back to it again, I wanted to try my hand at hand quilting, and this was mainly influenced by my kawandi making experience. I think I became more connected with this project with that decision, because I'm not sure if I would have really liked to machine quilt it. It took longer than it would have taken with the machine quilting, but I decided to hand quilt with Sue Spargo threads, and also I use sashiko threads. And the sparkly threads that I decided to add were so beautiful, but they were really hard on my fingers. My fingers got calluses in them, but the effect I got was from the sparkly thread kept me going. And my family, in the meantime, kept wondering out aloud why I do these things to myself. And not only that, it was a mission stitching with Casper around, being like only 8 weeks or so. He was a puppy. He was curious about everything. Plus, he wanted to be with me all the time. So I kind of set up a little a workstation inside his playpen, and worked when I could, while he was like exploring things around and biting on my table and all of those things. But let me tell you, it was really, really worth the effort. So I hand quilted all the all around with the sparkly threads, and I thought the quilt was done. Also for the binding, I was previously thinking of the self-binding method. Like I said, I had learned it somewhere, but I can't remember where now. But over the years, I've forgotten how it's done. So I decided to cut out the binding and do the mitered corners. I wanted to practice doing the mitered corners more as well, and I thought this was a good opportunity. However, before I cut out the binding, of course, I had an idea. So I thought, what if I went back over the embroidered threads, embroidered letters with sparkly threads? So back I went again without a plan actually. And back I went again without a plan, and just to add a little pizzazz. So here I was again threading needles, squinting at the stitches, but it wasn't as bad as the quilting. It wasn't as bad as quilting the batik fabric itself. I think it's because the fabric I'd embroidered on, the letters, is not as thick as the batik fabric, and so I just went along with the flow, and honestly, I'm really happy I did that. It took a little bit longer than I expected, and I was just enjoying the process, and it felt more like I was playing with colors in a coloring book. So the past me evolved so much, and so has this quilt. Back then I was a young mom living in a different country, and now my boys are adults, and two dogs have joined our family. Apart from all of that, I've also picked up new techniques in the making, figured out systems that work for me, etc. So for instance, nowadays, before I start a project, I gather all my supplies and tools and keep them together, either in a project bag or a basket, and I have kept all my threads and everything in this project, and it's like packing for a creative adventure. So so I have all the threads in this box, the needles, and I have more tools in this box as well, and I have a lot more threads in here. So, and I enjoy this part as almost as much as the making, the threads, the needles, the scissors. I like to bring along everything with me, because then I don't have to go around looking for them, and when I can use that time in the making, right? So also gathering all the supplies ahead of time builds up the anticipation for me, and every time I reach into it, I have a smile as I enjoy the notions too. Pretty things bring me so much joy, and I know it's going to make my making time a special time for me. And I usually find the right spot on the couch or the dining table with a hot cup of tea. I have given up drinking tea, and I have Horlicks or something like that beside me. Sometimes I listen to a podcast or a favorite TV show, and honestly, these things, they seem like they are very little things, but they do help to make the whole creative process more fun. So quilt has been with me through winter, the new puppy, and it has been a very busy season in our life. This quilt sat on my dining table for days while life swirled around. The chores, the dogs fighting over toys, mundane messes, the whole family getting down with flu, and then the dishwasher dying on us all at the same time. Lost quilting ruler, and through it all, it sat patiently waiting to be finished. But then things aligned and I finished it. And during this time, I only focused on this project. Usually, I jump between projects, socks here, blankets there. But nearing the finish line, I only wanted to finish. I only wanted to finish this quilt, and I only worked on this quilt. And the thought of finishing it, the excitement, I think carried me through the end. And I've been talking for so long without really showing you the quilt. So here is the quilt in all its glory. Home, sweet home. So that's the Home Sweet Home quilt. 15 years. I cannot believe I have finished it now. It's very magical feeling. I oddly feel proud of my mitered corners on the binding too, because so what I did was I cut 2.5 inches strips and machine stitched them on, and then hand sewed the binding onto the binding down to finish it. And it all feels like such an accomplishment. To be honest, I do think this is the best mitered I think this is the best binding with mitered corners I have done. For those who are not in Aussie or New Zealand, Mitre 10 is shop that sells all the home, all the tools for tradesmen and for home building and stuff like that. So it was a slip of a tongue, but yeah. So this is the best mitered corners I have done, I think. So I'm really pleased with how they turned out. And like I said, it turned out to be a really good practice piece for me. And I really hope you enjoyed this Home Sweet Home quilt series. After I finished putting in the last stitch and knot on the binding, I felt that maker's panic. What am I going to do next? I'm pretty sure all of us makers can relate to that feeling. It lasted all of 2 minutes before I was reminded that of my next project waiting in the wings to take off, which is my weekender crochet blanket. When I took it out from the shelf, Casper was very intrigued, and of course the little puppy wanted to help by chewing the yarn. I think it's going to be another mission before I get it done, but that's going to be my next project. Thank you so much for walking with me on this journey. I'll see you soon in my next video. Until then, take good care of yourselves and keep spreading smiles one stitch at a time. Bye for now.